The Edward Snowden case is contentious. It splits people into three main camps. Those who think of him as a hero, those who think he's a criminal for leaking government secrets, and those who think the whole story is a distraction. First, let's deal with the camp that thinks he's a criminal. Now, you have these incredibly corrupt politicians like Senators Schumer and Feinstein and former Vice President Dick Cheney calling Snowden a traitor and scolding Russia and China for allowing him to escape. I personally would love to know how these guys are able to make these kinds of statements with a straight face. It's hard to fathom how anybody can be so shameless in their hypocrisy. Yet somehow the irony seems to be lost on some of you. These cretins have been on the front lines in the push to strip away your last scraps of freedom. They have violated the Constitution over and over and over again, which is by definition treason. These are the real traitors. These scumbags in the Congress, the Senate, and the White House. These mass murdering psychopaths who like to call themselves leaders. These are the ones that should be in jail right now if there were any justice in the United States. That they would have the gall to try to paint some schmuck who simply told the world about their criminal activities as a villain is astounding. Seriously, those who are stupid enough to fall for this crap deserve what's coming to America. Now, for those who want to call him a hero, I don't want to burst your bubble here, but I think a bit more skepticism is in order. No offense intended, but none of this information was really new. This plays both ways. On one hand, since we already had access to mainstream media reports talking about the domestic spying program for at least a decade, it's pretty ridiculous to claim that he actually committed a crime by leaking the information. But by the same token, it doesn't really make sense to call him a hero for telling us something that anybody could have found out with just a few minutes on Google. Seriously, if you think that I'm exaggerating, go to Google and do a search for NSA domestic spying and set a custom date range from any year between 2002 and the present, particularly between 2006 and 2012. If you do, you'll find tons of this information. For example, this one from 2006, this one from 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, and there are countless others. I'm just showing you these to make the point that this information has been available consistently for years. If this stuff is news to you now, it's because you weren't paying attention for the past decade. But now the mainstream media is hyping it, and now you are looking at this issue. And that's a good thing, right? I can understand that point of view, and on one hand, it's better late than never. However, I would counter with this. When the mainstream media covers a story constantly, as they have here, and when they obsess over every detail as it unfolds, the first thing you need to ask is what other big story are they distracting us from? Remember, when their right hand is doing something big, watch the left hand. In this case, the big story that's slipping right under the radar is the war that's about to break out in Syria. Tiny little detail you might not have noticed, but the United States, France, and Israel just framed the Syrian government for the use of sarin gas in the conflict. Now they're using this as the pretext to send in weapons. The drama has taken a number of twists and turns. The first part of the story broke this past January, when documents were leaked showing that a Qatar firm had been in negotiations to smuggle sarin gas to the Free Syrian Army in order to use it in an event that was to be blamed on the Syrian government. The firm claimed that the plan had the full support and approval of Washington. A few months go by, and then in April there were accusations by Israel that the Syrian government had used sarin gas on civilians. Obama initially said that a red line had been crossed, but then the UN said that they wanted proof, and for a little while the United States went silent. UN did their own investigation, and they came back with a report indicating that it was the rebels who had used the gas. Oh, what a surprise. Again, you would think that this would be a big story. You would think that this would be a scandal, especially since it's well known that the United States and NATO have been backing these rebels. But it was just a momentary blip on the radar, and then it was gone. About a month goes by, and then the French government, who's been the ever-so-trusty sidekick in this latest phase of the US and NATO's war of terror, comes out claiming that it was the Syrian government that used the gas. And of course, once again, we're back to the red line. And these criminals are getting geared up for the next war. Make no mistake though, this isn't about Syria. It's about Iran. Iran is the real target. Iran is Syria's closest ally. And they have a mutual defense agreement. This isn't just talk. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're preparing right now to send thousands of troops into Syria. This isn't a game, folks. Russia and China have both taken sides in this conflict. And they are clearly in Syria and Iran's corner. Both countries have warned that if the US and NATO go down this path, the consequences will be disastrous. Russia has even indicated that thermonuclear war could result. Since neither Iran nor Syria have nuclear weapons, this can only be interpreted as a direct threat from Russia. And yet these psychopaths running the US and NATO are pushing forward with it. This is not going to be a replay of Afghanistan. This is not going to be a replay of Iraq. This is the beginning of something much, much bigger. If you want to understand what's really going on in this conflict, please watch the following videos. The Road to World War III and World War III has already begun. I know a lot of you are very passionate about the Snowden story. But if you focus on him and ignore what's going down in Syria and Iran, a lot of people are going to die. And unlike America's previous adventures in the region, this one has the potential to bring the show to your front door. Then of course the public will be surprised and shocked, and the media will act like no one saw this coming. Well, I've got news for you. The warnings are right in front of your face. If you don't see this coming now, it's because you're still not paying attention. If you want people to hear this message, be sure to click the like button, add it to your favorites, and share it through as many avenues as possible. If you want more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Storm Clouds Gathering, on YouTube. For updates and bonus content, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/stormcloudsgathering, on Twitter at Collapse Updates, and our website, stormcloudsgathering.com.